I'm Alex back from Board Game Co, and today we're playing through Warleague. Warleague is a dungeon crawler slash TTRPG with a bunch of other game modes, although if you want to see all of those, make sure to go ahead and check out the preview video for a full overview of what the game is doing. But what we're doing today is going to be a sponsored playthrough, going through a bit of kind of dropping you in a little bit into the solo campaign to give you a sense or feel of how the gameplay is going to play. This is a sponsored gameplay, also everything over here is a prototype, rules and components subject to change, and I'll have a link to the crowdfunding campaign down below. But with that said, we are playing as Malik. We are diving straight into the solo campaign right now, where Malik's going to be, and this, by the way, again, check out the preview, lots of ways to play this cooperatively as well, but the core structure over here is this is Malik's solo campaign that we're going to be diving into. We are playing as Malik over here, the commander over here, we're playing as him. We have our starting goods that we started off with. As you start this scenario over here, it tells you what he's going to be starting with, and then you're going to be going through a bunch of scenarios, going through the narrative text, of which we dive into a little bit to give you a sense or feel, but we're kind of diving straight into mission 2. So we're kind of skipping the first tutorial mission, diving straight into mission 2 and seeing what happens as we are hounded by the various spiders. There's spiders in the game. To that end, I'm going to be giving you a kind of a general feel of what's going on. We're going to be diving into some text, diving into scenario, maybe engaging in a few of the choices, just trying to give you, again, a glimpse of some of the elements you're going to encounter were you to be diving into this as a full solo or cooperative adventure. But again, as I said earlier, make sure to check out the preview video because there are a bunch of other gameplay modes, and you're only going to see a small aspect of what this game is doing in today's gameplay. This is a sampler more than anything else. So, we're going to start off with the text. Again, we are kind of diving in a little bit into the middle over here. Malik continued to search the area, frustration gnawing at him. Despite his relentless efforts, every piece of information he uncovered failed to provide any insight into Legion's weaknesses or possible means of escape. Panic began to set in as he swept from one terminal to another, only to be confronted with useless data. Metrics on the production rates and the success rates of the current production batches. Whatever Legion was manufacturing wasn't ready yet and was likely a problem for the future. Malik needed a solution now. Just as doubt began to creep in, a faint hissing and the sound of crackling metal caught his attention. Around the next corner he spotted electrical sparks, followed by a crunchy noise. Turning cautiously, he stopped abruptly. Electronic parts and an orange glowing components littered the floor. Before him lay a destroyed drone, a metallic carcass torn apart by massive spiders. Primals. These oversized insectoid creatures evolved to survive the harsh conditions of the desolate planet, typically only appeared in the most perilous regions of the arena. Yet here they were in the factory. As he watched, more of the grotesque creatures began pouring from freshly dug holes in the walls and floor, their spindly legs moving with unsettling speed. Spider Encounter Mission 2. To that end, we are setting up for a spider encounter over here. We're going to be looking specifically at this page. I guess for sake of not trying to distract you too much, we can kind of hide this other page, which should be a potential future encounter. This is going to give you the specific terrain that we are playing on, which we already have set up. On the terrain, you can see the various things. We have pillars we have set up, we have barrels set up, we have our various characters, our enemies. It's also going to tell you the spawning phases. It's going to be a sequence of phases. Because we're playing on easy mode right now, you can actually see what's coming. Alternatively, if you were playing on harder mode, you'd be covering up those phases so you don't know what's coming as you play through them, revealing them one at a time. In our case, we do see what's coming because, again, we are playing on that easy mode, but we are going to have the various enemies over here that are spawning on the board. I should note, again, this is a prototype, rules, components, and all those things. I'm playing with the miniatures right now, which are not the correct spider miniatures. For the spiders, there are currently standees, but I think the miniatures are cooler, so I'm going to be using these miniatures, this one for the basic spider miniature, and these two for the advanced, the more complex fire spider miniatures over here. Those are going to be the ones attacking Malik, who's currently on the board. We are set up, we are good to go, and it's time to dive into a combat scenario. So, Malik's going to have action points listed on his card. He has 5 action points, which are going to track on his player board over here. And we're going to be using those action points for our basic items. We also have stim packs over here to help heal us if we need to. We are starting off with 20 health, which is what his health is over here. He also has an anger bar over here. As you defeat enemies, you're going to increase your anger in the game, which is going to give you more ways to kind of power up. Anger is a resource that can sometimes be used to cash in to utilize things. Sometimes you're spending it, sometimes there's a threshold, and at all times it's going to help bump up your stats, giving you more health as well as more action points as you power up on your anger track. So again, it's a resource you're going to want to manage. In our case, we have to be mindful of, well, the barrels over here. The barrels, if we destroy them, we're going to get loot cards from this deck. There's also a list of various challenges we can attempt to do over here, as well as various rewards for the scenario. We're not going to be heavily focusing too much on the challenges because we're going to be focusing on survivability above all else, but there are various things for challenges you can have that as you accomplish those, you're going to get more goodies for the scenario if you are able to do those. But for right now, Mal is going to take his actions. Again, we have 5 action points. It's going to take 3 to fire our Darkstorm over here, and 2 to fire our Dark Steel over here. And we've tried to figure out how we want to handle moving and attacking in order to take these out. Because right now, this basic spider over here has health of 6. These fire spiders have a health of 8. And the tricky part is the fire spiders, I think I need to take out faster than the basic spiders, but everyone's a little dangerous in their own terrifying way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying to think through my survivability chances depending how I move around the board over here. Because I think what I might want to do, I could try to fire directly into that person. As long as I don't get a 1 or 2, I'll take him out. So I think that might be the best starting point offhand. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to fire into him. We're going to roll a die. Starting off the bat, we're going to spend 3 action points going 1, 2, 3. Because we could fire our Dark Steel, but then we have a chance of not killing it. We have a higher chance of not killing it. Because right now we have 2 ranged weapons over here. We have their range on them as well as their action point cost. But the tricky part is right now, as long as we don't get a 1 or a 2 on this, because a 1 or 2 would be 4 damage, a 3 or 4 would be 6 damage, and a 5 to 6 would be 8 damage. And since he has a health of 6, I probably can go ahead and take him out. We're going to go ahead and roll, just try not to get a 1 or a 2, and then we got a 3, which is perfect. That's all we need. That's going to be 6 damage. We're going to immediately take him out, and we're also going to boost our anger by 10, which is not going to do much right now, but once we get to the next tier, we're going to start having more action points, which is really key to trying to take out the various enemies in the scenario. But from there, we have 2 action points left, and the problem is right now, this guy can't hit us because of the pillar. This one could hit us, which means if we don't move, he's going to be able to attack us twice, which would be really bad for us, which means I think right now the only thing we're really trying to do is actually just move. As long as we move there, that removes the line of sight from these guys, and they won't be able to attack us through the pillar, which means they'll need to reposition to be able to hit us, and that's enough for them to only be able to attack us once. And just as importantly, once they achieve line of sight, then on my next turn, I'll be able to achieve line of sight on them without having to move. So basically setting myself up for success and mitigating the amount of damage I will otherwise take. I will be taking damage. They're going to go ahead and move. So we're going to move over here. This first one's going to move, and it's going to attack us over here. Because we're playing on easy mode, it's simply going to straight up do 3 damage. They don't roll a die, they just have damage tiers. On easy or medium, they would do 3 damage. They move with their first, and then they only have 3 action points left, which means they can only attack once more, the last action point being wasted. So right now, he's going to go ahead and attack us, which means he's going to do 3 damage to us, which is going to lower our health, but actually we're starting at 20, we're going to go straight down to 14, because he is going to do the exact same on that side in order to attack us, and that means that right now, that's going to be their turn. They did 4 damage, 3 damage apiece to me, leaving me from 20 down to 14, which is... survivability is not going to be great unless I can power up on this as far as that goes. Again, I do have an extra 10 health over here on these stim packs, but nonetheless, I need to try to get ahead of things. So, we're going to go ahead and enter round 2 over here, which is fine for us as far as things go right now. We have to be mindful, as soon as we enter round 3, we're going to have an event over here where the enemy spiders are going to become significantly more dangerous, which is not great for us. So what we're going to try to do right now is we're going to try to fire on them. So again, we are trying to shoot on this one over here. Starting off, actually we have 2 action points. I could fire this twice. The tricky part is, again, I need to think through my necessity of movement if things don't go my way. This one, I think my best odds are to take one of them out and then hide behind the pillar for the other to, again, mitigate that damage loss. So I'm going to fire with my Dark Steel on this guy over here, hoping to get either a 3 or 4 and then do that twice, or a 5 or 6, which would basically guarantee the kill. So I'm going to fire on this one over here. Again, anything is fine for this first one. How the first one goes is going to determine what I need for the second one. So we're going to go ahead and roll, and we got a 5, which is beautiful because that basically guarantees the kill. So we spent 2 action points. We did 6 damage, and then we're going to fire again. Doesn't really matter what we get. 2, that's fine because 6 plus 2 is 8, which means this one is dead. I spent 2 action points per shot, and now I'm going to have 1 action point left, although I actually miscalculated a little bit because I forgot that by killing that, I'm going to go up 20 on my anger track, which actually gives me one more action point. So I technically have 2 action points if I want to fire on this one, but I think the safer move is to just reposition. So I am going to go ahead and just move up here to reposition, take myself out of his line of sight over there, meaning again I'll have to move in order to attack. So he's going to go ahead and do that. The good news is I will be taking out the fire spiders over here because those rolls worked out well enough, which means I do have time for these other ones to go ahead and spawn. So right now, we are going to be spawning new fire spiders, which is the tricky part, which is not great for us. But for right now, we are going to have him move around over here. So he's going to go 1, at which point he can fire on us. Is that enough? Yeah, that's enough for there. He's going to fire on us, and again, we're going to reduce by 3 more. So we're down to 11, which is really not great overall. We are up 2 health. I forgot about that because we did move to this tier. So we're going to move up there, but if we do lose our anger, we are going to go down as well. So again, you're trying to juggle with anger as a resource to take these out. But with that, for right now, it's back to our turn, although we are entering into round 3 over here. We are going to spawn 2 new fire spiders, and those are going to spawn onto A and C on the map. So we have one spawning up here, and then we have one spawning over here. So right now they're not the biggest threat, but they're very quickly going to become a threat if we don't take these out. This, by the way, is this is easy mode. So let's see what we can do as far as taking out the spiders over there. We got the fire spiders. Those are particularly fire spiders. They have 1 extra action and 1 extra range, which is kind of terrifying when you think about it. Probably should have retreated back this way to avoid them being able to attack us, or at least minimize how much they could attack us. To that end, I now have an action point. I totally should have been hiding this way. That was a tactical error because I could have seen. This is where, knowing the battlefield, I had the knowledge of what was going to happen. I didn't use it to my advantage. That's a me problem, which I will have to pay that cost now. But I could potentially get, well, let's see what we can do over here. So we're going to try to take this guy out. I have 5 action points right now, 6 action points because I have that extra action point. So we start with 5. We have +1 because we're currently in the provoked phase. Killing 1's not going to do a ton for me. This is not great overall. I could once again try to unleash my pistol twice, giving me 2 action points to retreat, or even shoot again possibly. You know what, let's start by using my pistol. Depending on what I got on that first shot, depending on what I have, if I get a 5 or 6, it gives me a lot of freedom over here. And we got a 3, which is more par for the course. So 4 damage on him. He still has 4 health left. I'm just going to go ahead and shoot again. I think that's the only thing that makes sense. I'll shoot him again. I'll still have 2 action points left. I think that, and now I got a 6. So that's great over there. He is taken out. That's going to bump my anger up by 2 tiers over there from 40 to 60. And I have 2 action points left to potentially retreat as much as possible, which I think is probably in my best interest. So we're going to head back there as much as we can. That means the fire spiders are going to go. Again, the pillars do block line of sight. Currently, he doesn't have line of sight on me at the moment. He doesn't have range on me. Actually, I think I have to move this way over here because he could shoot past the barrel. So I'm going to head that away in order to prep for them. So now they are going to still be able to attack me, unfortunately, which is great because we're going to be dropping even more health at the moment. But again, hopefully only once each right now based on the, again, the distance that we're closing here. So almost would have been better to retreat and shoot at them. They just have too many action points for this wave right now. So right now, this one's going to head towards us. 1, 2. He has 5 action points, but that means he goes down from 5 down to 3, which again means he can only attack once, which is kind of what I was trying to do. So we are going to reduce ourselves down from 13 down to, I guess, a straight 10 over there because it's going to deal that 3 damage to us. And then this one over here is going to be able to, let's see, he can't really hit us from that angle. He's going to try to march around the pillar over here. So 1, 2, 3, and then he has the extra range, so he will be able to shoot us over there. So again, we're going to drop down to 7. So things are not great, but we do have those stim packs, which we are going to have to use. They're not really an option right now. We're playing a survivability game, and we are currently losing that survivability game. The good news is I do have my guns right now, and I might, assuming I get, depending how things go right now, I could hypothetically roll a 5-6 and a 5-6, which would be great for me. I'm not counting on it per se. I think I'm going to try to take this guy out right now because I don't like where he's standing. So I'm going to roll against him. I have a range of 5. All I need to do is get a 5 or 6 and we are good to go. Perfect. So that takes him out, which is going to both bump us up another 2 tiers to 80 over there. It's going to give us another action point and another health over here. So we have another action point as well as 1 more health. So we're back up over there. But most importantly, we are currently, well, I should have marked it down. So we had 7. We had 6, we spent 3, and we got 1, so we currently are at 4, which means I could shoot at him twice. So I do think that my best chance is if I shoot with the Darkstorm, then I have to get a 5 or 6. Whereas if I shoot with the Darksteel, I have more chances to be able to mitigate there. So I think I will shoot with the Darksteel because, again, even if I get a 2, I'm still fine as far as things go. But I got a 3, which deals 4 damage, so as long as I don't get a 1 or 2, we should be good to go. So we're going to lower ourselves to 2 action points, and then just not getting a 1 or 2 is all I need, and that's going to be, I'm going to count that as a 6, a little cocked in there, but I'm still going to count it as a 6, and that's, well, there's 3 over there, with 6 over there, and then that's going to take him out, so that's going to bump us up another 2 tiers over here, which won't change anything overall as far as things go, but again, we are slowly taking them out, which is great. That is going to bring us to round 5, where we don't really have any enemies, so I could use this time to reposition. I'm also going to go ahead and discard my first impact to go from 8 up to 13. I'm going to take that out over there, and hopefully be ready to dive into the next wave when we get there. But I'm trying to think, if we know that we're spawning on A, D, and B, so A's over here, D's over here, B's over here, I think trying to be as far as possible. I could shoot the barrels in the meantime. You know what, you may as well shoot the barrels. Let's go ahead and shoot a barrel, because we have 2 action points. So let's take my 7 action points. I'm going to spend the first 2 to go ahead and shoot this barrel. That's going to give me a loot that I can take out of there as a stim pack, which is amazing. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm going to spend my next 2 action points to shoot the next barrel and see what we get. I'm just going to shuffle this just in case. I know I did shuffle it, but if I got another stim pack, I'd feel bad. There are also, I should note there are also traps in this deck too, because traps are a concept you have in this game. So it could be bad things. I'm hoping for something good. Let's see what we got. We got a meta pack. That's even potentially better over here. That's going to require an anger. Oh, it's going to utilize 5 anger, but it will. Okay, we can use it. Okay, so we can use, if you spend 5 anger over here, so we are using it as a resource, but it'll heal us by 1 each time we do so and cost 1 action point. So I don't like the idea of giving up my anger right now because it is giving me extra action points, but it's just something to keep in mind that we do have that tool at our disposal. Also, I don't know why I only went up 1 health over there. I should have gone up 2 more. So I should be up 2 more over here because of that. Because I think I looked at the difference. We're supposed to fully add it, so I should be up another 2 health from that. But what are we doing right now? So we spent our other 2 action points. We still have 3 action points left to reposition. We know that we're having an A, B, and D come out. A, B, and D. This is easy mode, guys. This is not the easiest as far as trying to survive, but I think I almost want to, if D's going to be behind the pillar, B's going to be up there, I think I almost want to spawn right next to them where I can hopefully try to take them out. So I only have 3 action points left, but I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 to over here. That's going to lead us into the next round where we're going to have them spawning. So again, we have 3 more fire spiders popping out over here on A, on B over here, right beneath this pillar over here, and then on D down here beneath this pillar. That's the one we're trying to stay away from. But right now with our 7 action points, we are going to try to once again take out a bunch of fire spiders. The good news is we kind of have powered up. If we power up to the next tier, we're going to be dealing even more damage. On the Wrathful tier, that's what we need to try to get to survive, this Wrathful tier. So right now, all we need to do is kill 1 and we are good to go. I think my best bet is to spend 3, because I'll get 1 extra action point. I'm going to spend the full 3, hoping for a 5 or 6. I don't imagine I'll get it, but, you know, you can dream. We did 6 over here. So we did 6 of my first 3 action points. So 1, 2, 3. That's going to be on this one, which means we're going to spend another 2 to attack this one again, because no matter what, we are guaranteed that hit. We got a 5, of course. We did 6. So we are guaranteed this one is now out for the count. That's going to give us 20 more tiers over here, so up to 120. Again, once we're higher, we could start spending our anger to a certain extent to be able to use our meta pack as well as action points. So we do have that currency to stay alive. For right now, I'm happy we have the additional stim pack, so we should be fine overall. So what we want to do now is we have 2 action points left, but we also gained an action point, so we have 3 action points left, which means I think it is in my best interest to try to just destroy that guy, because I could shoot with this and hope for a 5 or 6, which would instantly kill him out. Otherwise, the problem is if I don't, how bad are things? If I don't, he's going to attack twice, he's going to attack once, it's going to be 9 damage to me. I can survive 9 damage, but it's not great for me. I also should be getting 5 more health, I'm realizing now. 5 more health because I jumped to that next tier. So we go from there to, we're currently at 15, we're going to go to 20, and even 20 right now. Because we got 5 more health for that tier. We are doing 2 more damage as well, which is worth noting, because that means even, I didn't realize that, but that extra 2 damage does mean that even with my Darkstorm over here, I will still have the possibility of being able to, do extra damage, so all I need to do is a 3 or 4, which does seem significantly more likely. So I will shoot with my Darkstorm, extending all my action points. And as long as I got a 6, even better. This guy is dead, which means I took out another one, bumping up my anger even more. These fire spiders at this point are fodder. I was feeling a little tight at the beginning. I'm feeling pretty good now. So that's going to be the fire spider taken out, which means we now have this one who's going to attack us. This one's going to try to head towards us. All he has to do is step 1, and then he can fire on us, well, only once more because he doesn't have the extra action point anymore. So he's going to fire on us, dealing 3 damage. We're going to drop down to 17. So I think we are fine in survivability because we are back up once again to our 5 plus 1, 2, 3. So we have 8 action points, which is plenty to take him out. So I'm just going to unload my Darkstorm on him because anything basically going to kill him. 2, that's only 4 over there, but if we do it again, boom, he's dead. That takes him out. That was on round 7. So again, now I can spend some time repositioning. Let's take a look at where the fire spiders are going to be spawning on B and D. I think I am going into just firefight mode over here. So I am going to go ahead down to over here just to prep for taking them out when they spawn. We're going to jump over there to 9, and we're going to have 2 more fire spiders spawn on B or D. So at this point, the battle's over at this point, I think. I just need to spend my anger as well as my points over here to use the meta pack to make sure I'm healing. So this draw, combined with the extra rounds I have, top tier overall. But with that said, we are going to go ahead and shoot after this over here. So we are, see, I do feel it was a little unfair. I feel I was like leaning into how hard it was at first on easy mode, and now I'm feeling I probably could take it up a notch if I needed to. Once you have that ramp up, so to speak, you definitely are in a better position. Also, it depends on what you grab. Getting an extra stim pack and a meta pack buys me so much flexibility. So with that said, we are going to go ahead and shoot on these guys because I can. So we're going to have our 8 over here. We'll shoot into the first pool. We got a 4, which combined with my 2 is going to take it out. Actually, I don't think it's made a difference yet. I'm realizing though, this over here, this is not this is melee damage. This is not what's it called? This is not our range damage. So that doesn't actually help us. So our first 3 does 4, so 6 over here. So we're down to 5 from our original 8. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, from our 8, so we're down to 5. And he has 2 health left, which means we're going to spend 2 more on this to just simply take it out. So that one's gone over there. And the next one, we still can shoot again, but we do need a 5 or 6 on this. So we're going to hope for a 5 or 6, and we got a 5. That was just lucky. That was not even the game. That's just us being lucky. So we've once again cleared another wave, which means now we get to the bottom over here, and now we have a choice. We could go to the second wave aspect. This is one of those things, one of those challenges we talked about. First of all, destroying all barrels got us 10 rad over here. If we play in nightmare mode, you're going to get an ionizer 33. Co-op was give you 40 rad to spend over here, and second wave gives you a super stim pack. Second wave is if you go back to the beginning and spawn an entirely new second wave. So again, even though I could take them out, they're still going to be slowly dealing damage to me, which would be a bigger threat if not for the fact that I got the meta pack. The meta pack combined with where I'm up to right now gives me way too much flexibility to just stay alive because we have that infinite play over here. So in all those rounds that we have dead guys that we can just go ahead and jump, I can spend the anger I just gained in order to keep healing myself. So this meta pack kind of put us in a position where we absolutely could go through a second wave, but for the sake of showing you how this is going to work, I'm not going to bother for right now, just because my goal is to try to give you an overview, a general understanding of how this plays through, and then return back to the book as well to kind of show you some things there. But right now, we have the fire spiders spawning on the last wave over here on A and B. So they're going to be here, and we're going to try to once again mow through them. So we're going to start by shooting the one close to us, again with our Darkstorm. All we need is a 5 or 6. We got a 4. That's going to 6. Then we're going to attack it once more with this. The 2 action points over here, we're guaranteed to 2. So again, that combination of 5 action points takes out the first one. And then we're going to again go for this. This is once again, we're going to need the 1 shot in there, which I don't think is likely. But we're going to try first. We got it. We got a 4. So this time we did not one-shot it. We did 6 damage to it. The downside is I played a little too fast and loose over there, so he is going to attack us twice because he's going to do 2 damage twice. He has that line of sight to us, so he's going to 3 damage twice. So he's going to 6 damage to us, 7 down to 1. We're back down to 11. I could discard these, but at this point, he already has 6 damage on him, and we're just going to blow him right now, and done. We blow his guts to Kingdom Come, and he's going to drop our wrath, our anger can keep jumping right now, and if we needed to, but we are at max, which means at this point, the exit is going to open over here, and all we have to do is slowly make our way to the exit, and that's going to be done with this particular page. That's basically a combat overview of how this plays out in the game. We're going to show you a little bit more before we end this scenario over here, but we need to find my little encounter book and read some more past it. That's the kind of, well, let's talk through it. After slaying the last spider, Malik realized the factory wasn't what it seemed. These spiders were common on the outskirts of the arena, mainly inhabiting old catacombs and ancient temples. Until now, Malik had thought of them as annoying insects at best. However, this attack felt different, almost coordinated, as if they had waited for the factory halls to be unguarded before making their move. The massive construction, the labyrinth of pipes, the boiling oil, all of it had to signify something important. Suspicion gnawed at him. Something didn't add up. Advanced drones, entirely digital, would have no need for primitive oil. And the spiders attacking the machinery, why would they do that? What could possibly motivate them to destroy equipment that seemingly had no relevance to them? He had to figure it out. Otherwise, his meticulously orchestrated breach and years of planning would be for nothing. Determined, Malik ventured deeper into the factory. The next hall was already teeming with spiders. Bracing himself, he stepped inside. At this point, we would set up for spiders everywhere, which would be another encounter. I'm going to skip that to kind of show you some more things over here of how this plays out, but effectively we'd go to the next encounter in this, we would flip that over, we'd go through it, we'd set up the board, and we'd go through another wave of, again, additional events, additional characters, additional enemies to fight against. But then when that's done, you actually get to a point where you can start going through choices over here. So for example, do I read? I'll read a little bit more. I'll pretend we complete that next scenario. Doubt began to creep in. This is after he fought and destroyed the next ones. Perhaps he needed to retreat and reconsider his plan. It felt hopeless and wrong. This breach was orchestrated to uncover hidden weapons of Legion, not to play pest control. Killing these creatures wasn't helping him, and the rooms were all the same. Machines, oils, pipes. He had worked on this plan for years, investing too much into it, and even lost friends along the way. And now, it felt like a failure. Anger flashed across his face, a rare sight on the usually calm and ungentle Malik. Closing his eyes, he took a deep breath to steady himself. Suddenly he heard the whisper of Dahlia's voice. "Don't give up. Move, Malik." He knew the voices weren't real, but he also knew that he couldn't stop. Too much had been sacrificed. He couldn't return empty-handed. There was no way back. Resolutely he decided to press on. Maybe the next rooms were different. Maybe he could find something new. This is where you have a decision point in front of you. The game's frequently going to give you decision points to go through. And we're going to go with 2. Even though he knew better, he couldn't accept the fact that the people he had pushed so hard would be disappointed. It gnawed at him, and a hint of desperation clouded his mind. We're going to go to 85-1 over here, and we have Malik understood his reputation was the beacon that would draw other combatants to his cause. Though he hated the idea of grandstanding, he resolved to amplify his presence, making a bold display to prove his worth and rally allies to his side. We're going to lower our belief by 5 and up our reputation by 5. This is something we actually started at the very beginning over here. There's going to be a starting point where you get through your stats of the character, and those are going to have various effects when different things check various stats, check your reputation, your leadership, things like that, so you're going to mark those adjustments. Cautiously, Malik peeked through a hole in the gate. As expected, spiders were swarming inside, destroying equipment, slicing through pipes, causing boiling oil to flood the ground. Channeling his anger, he placed both hands on the gate and pushed with all his might, smashing them against the walls. With a swift leap, Malik landed on an isolated platform and opened fire on the marauding creatures. And that's going to be where you set up for the next encounter. This was meant to give you a general overview of what this sequence of play goes through. You're playing through a solo encounter. This is specifically in the solo or cooperative campaign, right now playing as Malik. You would have additional characters if you want to go with co-op, giving them additional rad to spend on equipping themselves and prepping them. The game does recommend playing on higher difficulty levels to account for that extra character you have. But past that, you are going through the story. You're going through these missions. You're going to engage in a specific scenario as you go through this progression of different missions over here, setting up, facing off against the enemies, getting various buffs along the way. We didn't really go through it over here, but in the spider encounter, we are going to get extra things that we can utilize as we face off against the next encounter. More stim packs, grenades, weapons, gear, all those things that you can utilize. There's also a full overland aspect where you go on these different quests. There's going to be a separate board over here that you're going to go on different quests as you explore the wasteland. The story is going to give you different points, different beats in the story mode where you have the opportunity to go overland and go through their own sequence. So it has kind of the scripted storyline you're engaging with, as well as a separate set of side quests that you can try to explore at your leisure while managing time as a resource as well. And that's basically a gameplay, a little bit of overview of Warleague, of how this is going to play out. You are going to be going through solo or cooperative sessions. Again, this is just focusing on the campaign mode and what that would look like, giving you a specific scenario that we engaged with. But if you want to see more about the different play modes, check out the preview video where we'll go through the overall structure of what Warleague is bringing to your table. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you found this helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one.